this video, we're going to be taking a look at Bossk for the Vintage Saga collection. He was released in Wave 2, similar to IG-88, who I reviewed previously. So I think I did mention in that review that I did get Bossk and IG-88 together at Walmart. And after thinking on it a little bit more, I actually got them both in May of 2007. I did mention in the Bounty Hunters video that I did, I actually got two IG-88s, and one of them I got as a gift for a friend. But I also got Bossk at that same time, and I distinctively recall this being like towards the end of the school year, so this had to be in May. And he's been in my collection for about 17 years now at this point, and I cherish him greatly. It's the only Bossk I've ever owned. I never had any of the other ones. There was one in the original trilogy collection, I think. I've passed up on the Black Series one. I kind of wish I didn't do that at this point. I know he's probably not the best Black Series action figure out there, but I still would really like to get that at some point. Perhaps someday I will. And yeah, he's just a perfect Bossk. Even to today's standards, I think he's the definitive Bossk. And it's going to be very hard to see if Hasbro will actually go back and update him in any way, or just give him a simple repaint and repack him in the vintage collection. We still need him in the vintage collection. I don't know when that's going to happen. It's kind of surprising we don't have him or IG-88 before now. I know a lot of people do want an entirely new sculpt of him. I can understand why that is, but quite frankly, I don't see what Hasbro could really improve upon him. I think he's about as accurate as it can get. The only other thing I can think of they could improve upon is maybe give him hinged hips and a swivel thigh. But even then, is Bossk really going to be in that many dynamic poses? Being a Trandoshan, he might be. But we never really see him in any media or any of the books or anything where he is doing a lot of dynamic poses like that. Maybe I've missed some material here and there. It's possible. He is in a lot of expanded universe media out there. But just thinking back on like the Clone Wars series, of course Empire Strikes Back, and a few other books here and there, I don't recall him being in much more of a dynamic pose than him standing around or being in a shooting pose or something like that. But still, very nice action figure. I think he's about as spot on as it could get. With 2006 standards, 2007 standards, this was considered probably one of the best action figures Hasbro produced at the time, and even almost 20 years later, it still holds up really well. Let's just go ahead and take a closer look at this guy. So I think that head sculpt is phenomenal. You really can't get much better than that. He has that reptilian look to him, has that scaly skin, slanted eye, pupils, the teeth there. Kind of see his tongue a little bit. That would have been an interesting accessory to include with him, as a removable tongue, similar to like Mas Amenda from the Revenge of the Sith line, so he can kind of stimulate his reptilian instincts where they want to stick their tongue out to smell things. And just incredible detail in this action figure. If you think back to the Saga collection, we got a lot of great action figures in that line, but I don't think any of them were quite as detailed as this. Very nice expression for Bossk. Yeah, just the nice detailing on his skin there is very scaly. For the rest of his suit here, it's kind of similar to like an X-Wing pilot's suit. It is a flight suit. Other than a few parts here and there, you could almost reuse this for an X-Wing pilot. So this collar around him, that is removable. You'd have to pop his head off and take that off, so it is a separate piece. I don't think I've ever actually done that, and it's not really necessary. There's really nothing to see, and he would end up basically having a draft neck if you did take it off. And he does have that bodysuit there, kind of white with some black on it. And it has this harness here, which attaches on his abdomen there, on the yellow. And then he has the typical harness that we see on many of the Rebel pilots. Well, this time he has these, it almost looks like be a holster or something. Just put his concussion rifle to the side for now, or his grenade launcher, I should say. So he does have this patch here. Not sure the meaning of them. Perhaps it's like his clan that he belongs to. Something to do with Trandoshan culture. See gadgets on his pants. Harnesses around his knees there, basically. And his feet, very reptilian. And it looks like he has the ammo basically strapped around his ankles there, or close to his ankles. So in terms of his articulation, this was very innovative at the time. Not too many action figures were this super articulated. But he does have a ball joint in the neck, which has a pretty good range of motion. Give him just about any pose you want him in. He does have hinged shoulders and hinged elbows. Just go, just not quite 90 degrees, but pretty darn close. Then he does have swivel forearms, basically. Has that open palm there. At least for that hand. This one has a little bit more of a grip, so you can be able to put his rifle there. He does have a joint at the torso, which at the time was a very innovative thing as well. Even with that this tube here, it's not hindering at all. I'm not sure if you can take that out. I never actually attempted that, but I don't see why you would want to anyway. But it is a separate part that's sculpted in, so whether or not it can actually, or if it's meant to come out, I'm not sure. That is an option for you if you wanted to. He does have swiveled hips, and even with the harness there, it's not too restrictive. I'm going to be a little careful because this harness might be a little brittle after all these years, and I don't want it to break. But he does have hinged knees and then hinged ankles. So very super articulated for the time. We did get some super articulated action figures here and there, but it was so few and far in between that when we actually did get some, it was a big deal. Weapons and accessories is very light, but quite frankly, how much does Bossk really need anyway? So he has this rifle, which is technically a grenade launcher as well. Does have the scope there. And he does have the strap. And it does fit around him pretty good. I mean, you can do something like this, or you can even do it at a cross for him like that, if you wanted to. Or you could do something, I'm trying to think how you would do it. Something like that even. Most of the time I have him hold this rifle like how he does in Empire Strikes Back. It's kind of tucked in between him here. Something like that. And he holds it very nicely. And we'll go ahead and bring out IG-88. I think I might have some of the other characters from the wave. I have to go back and check though. I think that these guys were very plentiful at the time, back in 2007. Uh, what else can I say about Bossk? So he was repacked, both him and IG-88 were repacked in the Saga Legends line, and I think this was during the Shadow of the Dark Side line, if I recall correctly. They may have had a few other repacks here and there. I'm honestly not sure if one's cheaper than the other. I haven't checked the prices in a while. I have seen this particular IG-88 and Bossk, though, go kind of expensive on eBay. But it might depend on which version you get, and I'm not sure if there's any repaint differences. There might be more often than not. There are. Not too often Hasbro does straight repacks of action figures several years later. There's always something slightly different about each version of the action figure. So with that being said, would I recommend this Bossk for your collection? I totally would. He's a perfect action figure. And he's the perfect Bossk. He's definitely the definitive one. If you're waiting around for Hasbro to eventually get this guy in TBC, like I said, I really don't think Hasbro can do a whole lot more to upgrade this guy than what he already is. And even if Hasbro did do another update of him, I still think you should own this action figure in your collection because he's just so good. He holds up very well to today's standards. Can't complain one bit. It's just a very nice action figure. It's been in my collection for 17 years now at this point, and he's one I'm going to cherish greatly. I have a lot of great memories with this guy, and he's been through a lot over the years. And he's still in great shape. And he's complete, so yeah, it's a very nice action figure. Highly recommended. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There'll always be more to come. And if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I always appreciate all your support, and check out some of the links in the description if you haven't done so already. As always, thanks for watching.